SABA Islamic Center.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان. والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. خلق الإنسان من صلصال كالفخار وخلق الجان من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. رب المشرقين ورب المغربين فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. مرج البحرين يلتقيان بينهما برزخ لا يبغيان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. يخرج منهما اللؤلؤ والمرجان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. وله الجوار المنشآت في البحر كالأعلام فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان يسأله من في السماوات والأرض كل يوم هو في شأن فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان صدق الله العلي العظيم.
SABA Islamic Center.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتحدون الذي لا يدركه بعد الحمم ولا يناله غوص الفطن ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين صاحب العصر والزمان خليفة الرحمن إمام الإنس والجان ولعن الله وعداهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال الله وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن كان ميتا فأحييناه وجعلنا له نورا يمشي به في الناس صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. We send our condolences to the Imam of our time, the Rahbar of the Ummah, the Maraja, and all of you and your families on the arrival of the days of Fatimiyya. These are days that are no less than the days of Ashura. In fact, many historians have said that had the enemies not done what they did during these days of Fatimiyya, then the courage and the audacity wouldn't be there for Yazid to do what he did on the plains of Karbala. May Allah accept our grief. May Allah give us no grief in this world besides the grief of Ali Muhammad. May Allah use this grief of yours, your soft hearts, your tears, to grant you salvation, to grant you comfort and ease, and to keep you on this path of righteousness and piety in this world. I am always honored to address the SABA community, especially during special nights like the next 3 nights that I'm with all of you. And I don't take it for granted that of all the options that the committee has, that Mana Abdi has to ask for speakers, that they approach me. And so, inshallah, you are stuck with me yet again for 3 more nights. This time it's not so bad. Muharram was tough for you guys. You had to handle 10 nights of me, but this is a third of that. So, inshallah, you'll get through it. But, just before you're about to be done, I'll be long gone from your screen. Again, these are trying times, difficult times. When the pandemic first hit, I thought that, okay, by Muharram, everything will be back to normal. And then Muharram came and went, and I thought, okay, for sure by Fatimiyya now, we'll be able to travel once again, and I'll be, huzuran there in front of you. But now, we are saying goodbye to 2020, alhamdulillah, finally, and we are entering 2021, and things don't seem like they're getting any better. But inshallah, we carry on and we carry forward, and we use the tools of the time to continue to uphold these principles and to continue to commemorate these great personalities. The topic that I'm not sure if there's been any advertising done on this lecture series, but the topic that I have chosen, and I have labeled the lectures to be charity being a source of light for others. And let me tell you a little bit of why I chose this topic. It's obviously, I need to explain to all of you as my viewers, as people who are with me in this lecture, what my thought pattern was inside of my mind. These have been unique times, these past 9 months, and I'm going to label mid-March or late March to be really where the pandemic took off. And I don't know how it is in the U.S. I mean, I obviously follow the news, and it's pretty bleak there where you guys are. And California seems to flip-flop in terms of it at one moment being the hub, and now it's back to being the hub again. Anyways, but I do know that things are drastically different now, and it has impacted all of us individually, as families, as communities, businesses, teachers, students, frontline workers alike. And in this world of individualism, in this world of looking after yourself, mixed with a pandemic, I think that we sometimes lose focus of the fact that we can be a source of support and a source of help and assistance and a source of light for many, many people in our life who are right now riddled with darkness. There are some of you who have not been that impacted by the pandemic, meaning possible that your business soars, or you actually have increased your work, or perhaps you even made a good profit from the pandemic. It's possible. There might be those people out there listening to me who have lost their jobs and are struggling. And I think about, for example, our elders. Those elders who relied heavily on the center and on the masjid and on the mosque. Those elders that would not miss a single program at SABA Center, for example, because that was their lifeline, that was their bloodline. The Jummahs and the Thursday night programs and the other the other special programs that SABA has, and I think about people like that right now who have been home for the past 9 months. I think about an abused wife and battered kids who now have to have their abuser at home 24 hours because now he works from home. I think about, for example, our youth, our young guys who rely heavily on the social aspect of their life to get through this age in their life. I think a lot about people who are riddled with mental health issues, anxiety, depression, stress, who need that constant sort of, exit of the house and smell the fresh air and be amongst the people. And even if it means go down the road and check my mail and come back, I need that. But if everything's on lockdown, then these different groups of people are people who are suffering right now. And I found it to be necessary for me to remind myself and to remind all of you the heavy emphasis that Islam has placed on charity. And right away, when I say charity, maybe I'm wrong, but we think about financial charity. I'm not talking about giving somebody $5 to grab a coffee. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about rescuing someone from their darkness. And being individuals who think about those things. That's the first step, right? Just be conscious of someone's pain. Think outside of the box of the individual. I'm talking to myself up here, right? Thought maybe, let's not, maybe this darkness is relative. Yes, compared to people in India right now, we are privileged. But within our own circles, there are people right now who are jobless. And so I really want to focus on that in the next 3 nights with all of you. It's just 3 nights, bear with me. I really want to, let's learn to be there for each other, and what that means, and what is it that Islam wants from me, and how much is it that I can give to them and keep for myself, and we'll talk about all that. But tonight, I want to establish a little bit of the base. And again, I'm sorry, you guys are used to me by now. It's quite late here on the East Coast right now. It's pushing 11 o'clock. I've become a very old man, and I need my beauty sleep and or my ugly sleep, depending on who you ask. By 9:30, this old man gets a little bit tired. So even though I had a coffee, because I knew that it'll be about a 10:30. 11 p.m. Eastern start for me. So if I'm trying to fight my yawn to get through it, you guys, inshallah, will bear with me. The verse I chose for the base of our discussion is from Surah An'am, verse number 122. Beautiful verse. I actually recited 10 nights of a lecture, a series on this one verse in 2018 in my first Ashra of Muharram on this verse alone. But in terms of our discussion, it is the first half of the verse that I'll focus on. When Allah says that, look, you were spiritually dead. You were amongst those who were spiritually dead. You were those who, awaman kana maitan. Awaman kana maitan. You were dead. فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ. Then we gave you life. We gave you life. And not only did we give you life, وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. Not only did we give you life, but we gave you light as well. We gave you hayat, we gave you nur. Okay? Now, many mufassirin point to the fact this is a death that is the death of the spirit. Not physical death, but the death of the spirit, meaning that we give this believer hayat, life, after it's been spiritually dead, meaning we revive it from its spiritual death, and then not only that, we give it the light. Not for itself. Yamshi bihi fin nas. With it, they can walk amongst the people. I mean, they become that light source for everybody else. This is what a believer is. Now, the problem is you have to have enough light. And I give the constant example. I've been to Camp Noor with all of you guys this year. I was there as well in a virtual setting, but I've been there with you guys. And no doubt about it, the highlight of the camp is always the campfire. And I always give this example. I'll give it right now. It fits. Let me give it and move on. You have that one person who brings like this ridiculous flashlight to the camp, right? It's meant to like light up an island, forget like a little campsite. Now I want you to imagine that we pray our Maghrib and Isha Salat, and then we walk towards the campfire, and at a campsite things aren't lit outside. There's no outside lights, so you rely heavily on the light. And if you have that flashlight that is enough to illuminate the path that not only that you're walking on, but that others are walking on as well, then they'll turn off their lights and they'll gravitate towards your lights. And now through your light, not only are you paving the path for yourself, but you're taking a few people with you. Or as opposed to you saying, guys, leave your flashlights. I got this. Let's use my flashlight. I'll do it. And your flashlight is one of those dinky dollar store flashlights that can only barely light up the 1 inch ahead of you. Now these people who are relying on you, they're tripping over, this branch, and they're they have no idea what's going on. They can't see their hand in front of their face because you didn't have enough lights to illuminate the path of those around you. And Allah says that, look, I've given you that light. وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. I've given you that light. We've given you that light. It means that it's already inside of us. Okay, not only are we alive, but we're illuminated, guys, inside of us. And I'll get to, a hadith in a moment from Imam Sadiq, but it is important that we share that light. If I am somebody, and I ask you to do a lot of self-thought, I really, really hope and I beg that in these past 9 months of this pandemic, if one thing came out, it's that you got to know yourself and those around you. I had a father call me and tell me, you know what, I never knew that my kid was so good at math, Malana. I'm home now, working from home and doing their homework with them, and oh my God, she's brilliant. I said, yeah. And so, it's these are difficult times, trying times. And if we are left to fend for ourselves, I fear that sometimes for the groups that I mentioned before. Now, some of you are in a very good position. You're good at home, you're comfortable at home, you actually enjoyed the presence of your spouse. Can you imagine that? There are those individuals who, they had their break, their 8-hour break when he was gone to work. He's no longer gone to work, he's working from home, right? Anyways, I made that point already, but I'm trying to, truly make us understand the responsibility, the social responsibility that we have towards each other. And you might think, yeah, Maulana Asad, we get it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it in practice. I'm seeing this idea that mind your own business. I'm seeing the idea that, look, I'm not going to say anything to her or him. I'm not, I'm not touching out the 10-foot pole. But we don't have that culture yet. I'm not sure why. Of us walking into someone's life and saying, look, I know things aren't right now in your world. I'm not here to collect the gossip. I'm not here to get all the deets. I'm not. I am here just to simply say that I'm here. And all I see is darkness, and I'm bringing a candle to that darkness. And I will use this metaphor to death in 3 nights. Get used to it. Because the Quran also speaks about light, darkness, light. Dhulamat nur, dhulamat nur. And this is sometimes the highest form of charity. Bigger than a blank check, bigger than a hot meal, is to, if you're not going to at least bring a light to the darkness, then sit there in their darkness with them. I don't have solutions for you, but I'm listening if you want to vent. I'm listening if you want to allow me into your darkness, into your anxiety and stress. Not a doctor, not a professional. I'm just someone who's trying to care. That's it. That goes a long way, guys. A long way. Unfortunately, we've been trained in this culture not to think 1,000 times. What, am I overstepping? Are we that close? What happens now? What if she calls me up? What if she stands at the door in my face? What if he says, yo, man, mind your own business. Who are you? All that. I'm saying, forget all that. You have a good niyat, a niyat khair, do it. Do it with the utmost certainty that God knows my intention. If this person slams a door in my face, khalas, that's fine. One day, someday, they'll understand the only person that came to my door from Islam was this person. And there are some of you who can actually help. You can actually bring that flashlight to the game. Say, look, guys, we don't need to play in darkness anymore. I brought a light. Like, yo, you brought a light. You can be like that. Okay. Allah says, I've given you hayat and I've given you nur. Verse 122 of Surah An'am. Please take a look at it if you can. Now, the sheer fluctuation of our internal kingdom. I spoke about morality in the first 10 days with all of you, if you remember. I talked about, if you remember, the four powers inside of us, correct? There's no way you forgot those amazing lectures. Nobody forgets my lectures. There's no way you forgot those lectures. But in there, I talked about, one of them I talked about was the heart. And I'm about to share with you this hadith by Imam Sadiq that actually breaks down the various types of hearts into four. And look at the way he describes each one. He says, Inna quluba arba'a. There are four types of hearts. The first type, he says, al-qalbu fihi nifaq wa iman. And those of you who are looking for a source, Imam Khomeini's Chel Hadith book, 40 Hadith book, I believe Hadith number 30 is a Hadith that's called the classifications of the hearts. Take a gander at that if you can. I use the word gander, that's right. Take a look at it if you can. It's online, it's well translated. It's on alislam.org, hashtag Sheikh Salim. It's there, and hadith number 30, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's number 30. This hadith is there. In fact, it's the opening hadith it's actual hadith that he does a shara and a commentary on. Imam Sadiq says there are four types of heart. The first type of heart is that heart, al-qalbu fihi nifaq wa iman. That heart that has both hypocrisy and faith inside of it. This fluctuation, the flipping and the flopping, the seesaw, up and down, up and down. He says the second one is al-qalbu mankus. Al-qalbu matbu is number 3. Al-qalbu azhar is number 4. Now each one he defines what it is. I don't have that kind of time, but it's enough to know that al-qalb mankus is inverting something. Okay, so when you invert something, then number one, it no longer maintains its form, and it may also no longer maintain its function. Okay, someone tells you that, look, can you bring me some orange juice? Sure. Go into my fridge. I'm about to pour the orange juice, but the person's glass is inverted. I'm like, dude, I can't pour the juice on an inverted glass. Can you fix it, please? So not only does the glass look weird upside down, it's now completely useless because it's dependent on one side being open. The heart also flips, inverts itself. Now what that means, again, like I said, if we're talking about the qalb in this series, maybe I should have. It's a nice topic. I would expand on that, but I don't. Al-qalbu mankus. The third one is al-qalbu matbu'. To understand matbu', for example, the opposite of matbu' is maftu'. Maftu' means an open heart. So matbu' is a sealed heart. A heart that's sealed. Nothing goes in, nothing comes out. Whatever is inside of it, that's what it is. There's no building, there's no elevating, there's no cleansing, no, nothing. You need a door to go in and out, right? To cleanse and to allow the cleaning agents to enter the heart and the dirt to leave. You need one portion to be open. Here, this heart is sealed. And the final one is al-qalb azhar, an illuminated heart, Imam Sadiq says. Now he describes. He says, al-qalbu nifaq wa iman, the one that has both hypocrisy and faith in it, is almost an everyday heart, like yours, like mine, maybe more like mine. Right? This seesaw bow that we have, this back and forth that we have, we deceive and believe and deceive and believe. We regret, we say, I'm sorry, God, it won't happen again, and then it happens again. Right? This lawama we talk about, this loam, this regret, this remorse, this back and forth. It's taxing, it's daunting, it's tiring, it's debilitating, Maulana. Al-qalb mankus is that of a disbeliever. A useless heart is one that can't accept the iman when it's there in front of it. And the heart of a sealed individual is that of a munafiq, a hypocrite. And then that leaves the heart of a mu'min, and that is the qalb azhar. And the female version of azhar is zahra, right? Now he mentions this for us to realize that our hearts go through stages. In fact, the word qalaba itself literally means fluctuation, right? We call Allah muqallib al-qulub, the fluctuator of hearts. And it could be that we jump from, there are levels to each heart, right? There's that heart that has the tiny candle wick inside of it, which could still be illuminated. There's the one that glows, like I said. There's that flashlight that can only illuminate 1 inch in front of you. There's one that can illuminate the entire pathway for everybody else, right? It's light, but there's variations and degrees of light. Same idea. There's sealing happening, but there's various degrees of sealing happening, right? There are those people who send you a package, let's say from overseas, let's say for example, and it's wrapped up like, oh my goodness, like you almost want to send it back. I can't get through the 41 layers that you've packed this thing with. What was unnecessary, right? So there's layers now and there's layers to inversion as well. Meaning the point that he's trying to make is that it's possible for us to go through these various hearts inside one reality, inside one human being, which points to the fact that we really need to check ourselves. Check ourselves. What's the state of my heart? Who am I thinking about inside that heart? Who is the object of my attention inside of that heart? Or what is the object of my attention inside that heart? It's amazing, Imam Khomeini rahmatullah alayh in his book Adab al-Salat, Etiquette of Prayer, beautiful book, revolutionary book. In his first discourse, now he breaks up the book into 2 parts, right? Adab al-Qalbiyya and Adab al-Salat. The first 17 chapters, I think, all talk about matters of the hearts, etiquette of the hearts. Things like, he refers to, izzati rububiyya and dhillati ubudiyya, right? The greatness of your Lord, the power of the Lord, the majesty of the Lord, and the humility of the servant. Talks about things like khushu inside the hearts, tafhim, tadrij. And then he spends about 4 or 5 lectures on the topic of huzur qalb, the presence of the heart inside of salat. Please follow me. And in one of the classes, in one of the durus, when he talks about the wandering imagination, the restless nature of our thoughts, and he gives a very beautiful metaphor of a bird. If you've seen a small bird fly from branch to branch to branch to branch, it's very restless, it's very chaotic. And any sort of thought that you might have from afar of you capturing that bird, you're like, nah, I'm not going to be able to catch that bird. The moment that I even inch one, I come 1 inch to it, it'll be jumping, it'll be gone. And Imam Khomeini brilliantly takes that metaphor of this branch to branch to branch bird and equates it to our thoughts and says our thoughts also, the moment we say Allahu Akbar in our salat, goes from branch to branch to branch. Thoughts that people I haven't thought about in a decade, man. The moment I say Allahu Akbar, for some reason they appear in my brain. And after namaz, they never come back. Strange. He says, how do we handle this? It's a famous question. Why can't I focus in my salat? And that's not my topic, and I wish it was. It's not my topic. But it is, there's a point in there he makes that's very much connected to our discussion tonight, and that is that he says that check the store of your thoughts. Hear me out here. He says, look, when you are carrying out your day, okay? You're in school, let's say, for example, you're writing your exams, you're doing your assignments, you're at work, you're hustle bustle, 9 to 5, let's say, for example. You're at home, you're raising the kids, making sure their place is clean, the meals are cooked, the kids are doing their homework thing, that's happening, this is happening, blah, 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 everything. You just hustle. You have no time to really stop and think about that store of thoughts. The store of thoughts, he says, are those thoughts that are always there. And the moment that the mind becomes a little bit free, they rush to the front. Okay? He says that the moment that we get on the musalla, our every day, back and forth life is for a moment paused, right? I'm on the musalla. I'm not doing assignments. I'm not cooking a meal. I'm not working. I'm not on my Zoom meeting right now. And so all of that is put aside. And now he says you have a moment to truly think about the things that you actually want to think about. And that's when he says the moment you say Allahu Akbar, you take your key and you open your store to your thoughts. And you open your store and you walk through the aisles and you check it out. I have a horrible habit. I go to the store, let's say, for some milk, and I don't know what it is. I have to walk through every aisle. I know exactly what aisle 6 is. Aisle 6 is pasta. We have tons of pasta inside of my house. But for some reason, I'm looking at, the various types of pasta. I know, for example, that aisle number 9 is the chips aisle. I know it is. I don't know what it is. Anyways, yeah. So he says that the store now is open, and out comes the thoughts. All during salat. Subhana rabbil a'la wa bihamdi bihawlillah. The store is open. If you want to cure the wandering bird, he says, check your store. What is it that is your go-to thought? What is your default thought? When all the bustle is done at night, you're on your pillow, everything's quiet down, the day is done, everyone is in their bed, you're also kind of drifting away, but there's that moment where you're kind of quiet. Where does your mind go? It's eerie to think about. Where does your mind go? That's your store. That's the store that opens. The key to that store is, for some reason, the takbir of the first takbir of salah, takbir of ihram, Allahu Akbar. Now that's the key that dangles, and the store is open. If that store is filled with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he will, like that bird, he'll be bouncing in between your thoughts. If that store is filled with money and fame and fortune and subscribers and followers, and I wonder what I should do for my latest TikTok video, then that's exactly what you're going to think about. All during bihawlillah, all during qunut, all during, your tashahhud. And then you wonder, why can't I get anywhere in my thoughts? And I'm asking you to do that beyond salat. I'm asking you to do that. Check yourself when it comes to others as well. And when I say others, I don't mean this massive group. Start small. Start in your inner circle. That means start with your spouse, your children, your parents, your siblings. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 groups. Your parents, your spouse, your children, your siblings. If you have 1 of the 4, 3 of the 4, all 4, 2 of the 4, doesn't matter. Start there. If that means that you check up on your mom and your dad, then so be it. If that means that you just send a random message to your siblings, so be it. Milana, we talk every day, twice a day. Perfect. We Zoom. Perfect. If that's the case, then expand it to your uncles and your aunts. When the last time you spoke to your uncle or your aunt, or anybody, your mamu, your mamani, your chachu, your taibu, your ammuzade, your khale. When's the last time you spoke to any of them? Just to check in. Are you okay? I don't think we understand how much this pandemic is really affecting our elders. They rely heavily on social interaction. It's all they have. It's all they know. If that's the case, then random elders inside the community, random people inside the community. I got a call 2 days ago from a brother who was a regular at our center, and it's, I haven't seen him in legit 10 months. He just called to say, Milana, we miss you. I hope you're okay. Anything you need, let us know. And it was a 2-minute conversation, 120 seconds, but it made my week. These things go a long way. You have to have the heart for it. You have to stop and think outside the limits of yourself. Break the idol. We'll talk about that in a couple of days. Break free of that. But learn now to serve people. And nowadays, in this pandemic, serving people is from afar. A quick message, one emoji, man. That's it. And the connection that is there between strengthening your ties with God and serving others is incredible. Let me say it one more time. You'll ask me, how do I create that inside? How do I create that empathy, that passion, this idea of selflessness for others? Where do I start? And I would say you start with God. The stronger God is inside of you, the more the heart now thinks of others. You know, I came across a very beautiful Hadith Qudsi. Hadith Qudsi are those words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that are not in the Quran, right? There are hadiths that begin with Qala Allah, for example. Okay, very powerful ones. You know, ones that of course require, for us to truly understand what's happening. And I'll go through this hadith, and then inshallah we'll go through Masayib. It's hard to go anywhere beyond 40, 45 minutes in front of a screen. And I think if my math is correct, it's already been close to about 40 minutes. The hadith says, "Faman qasadani arafani." Oh, please follow every single word of this hadith. "Faman qasadani arafani. ومن عرفني أرادني. ومن أرادني طلبني. ومن طلبني وجدني. ومن وجدني خدمني. ومن خدمني ذكرني. ومن ذكرني ذكرته برحمتي." Allah Akbar. Chills, man, I tell you. These words, oh my God. Allah says, for the one who has qasd of me. Qasd. One of those words that, they move towards me. They intend. They have this qasd to know me. They have this qasd to this inquiry about me. The one who does that, arafani. He has a certain level, she has a certain level of ma'arifat. She knows me. Otherwise she wouldn't seek me. وَمَنْ عَرَفَنِي أَرَادَنِي. The one who is aware of me, wills me, has this irada. Irada is used in Farsi, Urdu, Arabic. Irada, I have this desire, I have this wish, I have this will. I become murid, I want to know. I thrive, I'm thirsty for it. وَمَنْ عَرَادَنِي طَلَبَنِي. The one who wills me, looks for me, searches for me, looks for me. وَمَنْ طَلَبَنِي وَجَدَنِي. Allahu Akbar. Oh. The one who looks for me, he says, finds me. The one who looks for me finds me. Allahu Akbar. وَمَنْ وَجَدَنِي خَدَمَنِي. And the one who finds me, serves me, does khidmat of me. وَمَنْ خَدَمَنِي ذَكَرَنِي. The one who serves me, remembers me, does dhikr of me. And then he says, وَمَنْ ذَكَرَنِي ذَكَرْتُهُ بِرَحْمَتِي. And the one who remembers me, I remember them with my mercy. Beautiful Hadith Qudsi by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But here, look where the word khidmat is, service is. You have this niyat towards me, you intend me, you know me, you desire me, you look for me, you find me. When you find me, you want to serve me. How do we serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Absolutely. There's haqqullah, there's haqqun nas. You absolutely serve Allah by giving Him His right, worshipping Him, salat and saum and hajj and etc., etc. But another dimension of servicing Allah is to pull somebody out of their darkness. Help them reach their goals. Imam Ali is walking with his companion. Imam Ali alayhi salam is walking with one of his companions. They are engrossed in a conversation to the point where they end up reaching the companion's house. And they had now walked right by Imam Ali's house. His house came first. And the companion felt bad. Said, Mawla, I'm sorry, we should have dropped you off first. I apologize that you came all this way to drop me when really your house came before that. And Imam Ali says a true believer escorts and accompanies another believer to their destination. If you know anybody who's looking now to accomplish something, looking now to get somewhere, that they're stuck in a rut, they're in quicksand, they're in darkness, I ask you, humbly ask you, in the name of charity, in the name of humanity now, just reach out. Tonight, think about yourself. Think about who is it that right now you think could use just a simple text, just checking into, was thinking about you to make sure you're okay. Someone who's possibly lost a loved one, let's say, for example. Somebody, let's say, for example, who's going through a tough divorce. Someone whose father has lost their job. Somebody who you know is living in a very tense environment at home. Just reaching out. Don't ask for details. Don't offer solutions. Just reaching out. And unfortunately, I feel like this reaching out business is a dying culture. Because we think and we think and we overthink what their reaction might be. Some people are very, very private in their life. Some people are I'm not asking you to come in with reporters and a camera in their face. I'm asking you to simply reach out and say, you know what? If you need anything, I'm here. That's it. That's it. This is the khidmat Allah talks about in His own words. If you find me, you're going to want to serve me. If you truly want to serve me, these are the two dimensions. Yes, uphold that worship that is only meant for me. At the same time, look after my creation. There's a hadith that Nabi Musa is asking Allah, Allah, if you were a creation like me, what is the one thing that you would do constantly? Beautiful question by Nabi Musa alayhi salam. What's the one thing that you would do constantly if you were a creation? Allah, He says, I would serve others. I would assist others. I would help others. I ask you if you can, if you have that flashlight, if you have the light, and that light means several things. You are secure in your relationships. You are secure in your job. You are secure in your mental health. And by the way, and I'll expand on this tomorrow, inshallah. My time is done tonight. If you are not even secure in any of these three, one of the quickest ways to become secure in your finances, in your relationship, and in your mental health is to help somebody else become secure in those things. Oh yeah, try that one on. Seriously. Imana, I have a tough enough time getting out of bed. You want me to go and get someone else out of bed? I have a tough enough time sitting there trying to reach for a flashlight. You want me to go and light someone else's path? And I'm saying, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because if somebody knows that you yourself are going through a lot and you still found a portion of yourself to sacrifice for them, it's even a more beautiful message. But I can't believe you're reaching out to me. You yourself are going through a lot. Now you've really lit up the path for them and maybe gave them that little sliver of hope that they needed to get out of bed, dress to shoes and carry on with their day. And after all, this is a woman that we are here to commemorate that talked about others. First others, then you. First others, then you. Not just in prayer and everything. Just a few moments of musibah tonight. Inshallah, we will see you guys tomorrow night. The tragedy of Syeda Fatima is one that is very difficult to fathom. At a young age, for her to go through what she went through, being who she was, is very difficult to fathom. And I just want to speak a little bit about the connection between her and Imam Hussein tonight. Inshallah, we'll recite her Shahadat when the time is right. But there are so many dimensions to her musibah that carried forward into her husband and to her children as well. I mean, Imam Ali's poetry that he writes about her after she leaves this world is beautiful. It's heart-wrenching. But this connection that Imam Hussein had with Sayyidah Fatima is very unique. When initially Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein found out that their mother had left this world now, and that she became Shaheed, the reaction of both of them are very, very different, and we'll read that in the Masa'ib of the Shahadat. But just a little bit of a glimpse now. Imam Hassan enters the room where Sayyidah Fatima is lying, and he rushes to her body right away. Imam Hussein, the books say, take a little bit. He takes a pause almost, and he looks at the body of Sayyidah Fatima. And I didn't read this, but my heart tells me that maybe he's thinking that, Amma, I've never had a moment where you didn't see me and ask to come to me. This is the same Fatima that would refer to her children as Qurrata Aini wa Thamrata Fawadi, the apple of my eyes and the fruits of my heart. And so he knew that something wasn't right. She's not calling me. She's not saying, come and embrace me. You're my Hussein. It's almost as if he's looking at her saying, do you know who I am? I'm Hussein. Ana Hussein, main Hussein hu. Because when Imam Hussein leaves Medina now to go towards Karbala, he first he goes to the grave of Rasulullah, and then he goes to say his khalafas to his mother. And it's two distinct moments. When he went to the grave of Rasulullah, he went as a soldier. He went as a man on a mission. That, Nana, I'm going now to save your deen. Your deen is now in the hands of that individual. I have to go and rescue that deen and go through the islah that your ummah needs. Pray for me, Nana, I'm going to represent you. But when he went to say his goodbyes to his mother, he began to stumble towards his mother. The example I've always given is this, that, you know, when a young child who's very close to their mother, and their mom is gone for a couple of hours to run some errands. When is Mama coming back? When is Mama coming back? She'll be here soon. She'll be here soon. She'll be here soon. I miss Mama. I miss Mama. I miss Mama. Until that moment that he hears the dangling of the keys and the unlocking of the lock and the opening of the door, and his eyes light up and he sees Mama. It's only been a couple of hours, and he couldn't run there fast enough. And sometimes he falls and gets back up and falls and gets back up. And all he wants is that embrace of his mother. Imam Hussein goes running towards the grave of Fatima Zahra. Amma, I'm leaving now, Medina, stumbling towards the grave, falling on the grave. Amma, I'm leaving Medina. I'm going towards Karbala. I only wish you can take me inside with you. I just want that one last warm embrace. I want you to now be with me. No one is with me. But Hussein, I'll tell you one thing. Fatima made her presence very much felt in the day of Ashura. Bibi Zainab says, Bhaiya, before you go into the Maqtal of Karbala, our mothers told me to kiss you on the forehead. When no one had an arrow and no one had a spear, they will throw the rocks at my Hussein's forehead. Kiss that blessed forehead. That will be zakhmi upon zakhmi, scar upon scar. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. ماتم حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين.
يا فاطمة 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 يا فاطمة. Fatimiyya is the time of Azar for the martyrdom of Fatima. the crushing of the mother of Sadat by the shameless people of Medina, the crushing of the mother of Sadat by the shameless people of Medina. Ya Fatima, 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 Ya Fatima. The loneliness of Murtada and the turbat of Mujtaba, the martyrdom in Karbala, all started in Fatimiya. Fatimiya is the death of Muhsin, the time to remember again. They called Rasulullah a crazy man when he asked for paper and pen. They called Rasulullah a crazy man when he asked for paper and pen. Ya Fatima, 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 Ya Fatima. When Fatima was behind the door, when they burned down and kicked the door, when they crushed the chest of Fatima, when they slapped the face of Fatima, when Fatima was behind the door, when they burned down and kicked the door, when they crushed the chest of Fatima, when they slapped the face of Fatima. Ya Fatima, 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 Ya Fatima. Fatimiya is the death of Ali, time of loneliness of Ali, the moment he buried his Fatima was the hardest night for Imam Ali. Fatimiya is the death of Mujtaba, he was lonely like Murtada. They even shot arrows at his coffin. What a sad burial in Medina. Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Zahra, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima. Fatimiya is the cause of Karbala. Fatimiya is the cause of Karbala. The beheading of Abi Abdullah. If the burial of Hassan was sad, just take your heart to Karbala. The body of Hussein of Fatima is cut into pieces in Karbala, with thirsty lips without any kafan. He was left on the plain of Nainawa. He was left on the plain of Nainawa. He was left on the plain of Nainawa. Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Zahra. Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Zahra. Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima. Burning the door of Fatima, burn down the tents in Karbala. Burning the door of Fatima, burn down the tents in Karbala. Slapping the face of Fatima led to the slapping of Sakina. Slapping the face of Fatima led to the slapping of Sakina. The loneliness of Murtada and the qurbat of Mujtaba, the martyrdom in Karbala, all started in Fatimiyya. Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Zahra. Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, Ya Zahra. 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 Fatima, Ya Zahra. Ya Fatima, Ya Zahra. Ya Zahra, 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 Ya Zahra. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. المؤمنين السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيتم وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر الأهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذرية الحسين، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن ويا شريك القرآن، أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته بالنبي وآله. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.